Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Healing Conversation. My name is Einav Avni, and with me today, Danita Young. Danita, hi and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right. So I am Danita Young. I am a owner of a very profound fitness female company that is we do sell all over the world, but also we kind of focus more in the United States as far as our bigger items such as barbells and things like this. But I'm a national qualified bikini competitor. I'm a certified personal trainer. I've been doing it for about 2 to 3 decades. I'm a nutritionist and I am a speaker that's really specializing towards women's health and fitness. So anything to really do with mindset all the way down to body, I really am passionate about supporting women to step into their best.
Amazing. And tell me a little bit how did it all start? Where did it all start?
Yeah, that's a great question. I remember feeling a little lost. I feel like when I went to college, everybody else knew what they wanted to become. And I felt like I was one of those late bloomers that I was like, I don't know what I felt like I had a lot of different skill sets and I had 3 jobs at a time and I felt like I was a hard worker, but I didn't really know where I was like supposed to niche myself. And it happened, if you don't know yet, by the way, it's actually happens organically and it kind of filters itself out where and what message and your gift that you're supposed to bring to this world. And I really found my dharma. I found my passion, and I found it as I was working on my own health and fitness journey. I had a point in my life I felt hopeless, and I felt to this point of this weight loss journey, and the things that I was doing just made me feel like I was kind of running around in a circle, like I was plateauing. I wasn't really seeing results, and it felt this very pivotal, hopeless point. And I felt like with age, I was only getting worse. And obviously, because when we age, we lose our metabolism. So it was getting worse. And it wasn't until I hired a coach and I spent thousands of dollars with this coach. It was 3 months that I actually signed up to go be a bikini competitor. But it was kind of a joke because I was like, this is, I know I'm not going to jump on stage. There's no way I'm going to do this. But I signed up with just the pure fact of to do something to really commit me. And I ended up learning all of the things that the weight loss industry teaches us that actually slows our metabolism down and what I should have been doing instead. And so what I learned is to reverse my metabolism, essentially hack my metabolism and start to work with my body and start to be able to cut fat and essentially keep the curves is kind of how the way that I put it now. But anyways, I ended up following through. I jumped up on stage and I won all the trophies and I became nationally qualified. Did I go to nationals? No, because the whole point was not to compare my body against others and to say that I won a trophy compared to others, but for me it was really understanding how to actually go through the process to not feel hopeless anymore.
Mm. And I really like that actually, because I guess sometimes when we think about, you know, well, bikini body, or even sometimes people thinking going to the gym, and it's all about the fears, or I'm going to be compared, or I'm going to compare myself to others, and I'm not feeling comfortable and confident in my body. And it sounds like you taking it to a completely different place, which is actually more about the confidence and the empowerment, about finding yourself and what you needed out of all of this.
Yeah, I think at the very beginning of any of health and fitness journey, I think when you're younger, it kind of is just like, okay, how can I look my best? Then when we get older, it's like, how can I feel my best? And so it really does start to shift. Health and fitness has its own journey within itself of really what your goal set becomes. For me now, it's how am I going to look and feel when I'm 80 years old? So it's really about a deeper message. But yeah, is there's a lot that comes with it. But yeah, the comparing and going to the gym, we have a lot of women within our community that are terrified. The fear of going to the gym is very scary for them. For yeah, other than for judgmental, for of course, judgmental of themselves and others judging them. And so it's been a very big fear. And so we have what's called a complete home gym at home, and so it allows women to kind of go through those fears where they can start to get comfortable with learning how to lift the weights so that when they do go to the gym, they have more of that understanding of how to not do things the wrong way. Because then you can also have the fear of injury, right? So not the fear of judgment, but also fear of, geez, am I doing this right? Am I going to hurt myself later? That type of thing.
Yeah. But I want to take a step backwards and really lean into the conversation, the topic of conversation that we set for this call today, which is really, as we said, about moving away from victimhood and into finding your purpose. Tell me what resonates for you with this topic.
Yeah, I would say that leaning out of victimhood, and I'm going to even probably go into maybe my more of my entrepreneur journey. I would say that that was probably one of the scariest things. And I always would say to myself, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'll never be an entrepreneur. And the reality is we actually are. All of us are entrepreneurs. We're all creators. We're all abundant. We're all of these amazing things. And really, it's about just remembering how capable we truly are. And victimhood, essentially what that does is it creates these compartments, and it creates these limiting beliefs that are not true, and they're false. And it just, if you can imagine almost putting a wall above your head, and all it's doing is the more and more and more limiting beliefs that you're creating for yourself, the smaller you're becoming. So if you feel like you're not being seen in the world, if you feel like you're just this empty ghost that's just not existing, that's really because you're living in this limiting belief victimhood life that's just not really fully branching out who you're really meant to be. And the only way to go through it is to go through it. So I look at it as live your life like a buffalo. A buffalo, when the storm is coming, a buffalo goes towards the storm, whereas all the other animals run away from the storm. And the difference is this: the buffalo has less time in the storm because he goes towards it, whereas the other animals get stuck in the storm and they're running with it. And so, what I've learned more than anything about fear is live life like a buffalo, go towards it, and you'll realize it's going to be a lot less and a lot bigger than really what it is.
This is such a beautiful thing to say, actually. I didn't know that about the buffalo, so thank you for sharing and enlightening us, about that. But also, what a beautiful message. It's. I mean, of course, I that's exactly what I believe in as well. That you recognize the fear, but you have a choice, right? Do you want to stay in the fear and wallow in it, or do you want to actually find your way out of it and bring your life into a different starting point? So tell me a little bit about you know how you worked with it, or how you work with your clients with this idea. What is it that you're noticing with that?
Yeah. So one particular thing comes to mind as far as fear and running my own business. I've been running this business for about 5 years, and it's definitely made its mark in the fitness industry. And I've been obviously ecstatic to work every day, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like there's nothing else I'd rather do. This is literally my passion. I love, love, love what I do. One thing that I don't love to do is customer support. Customer support, especially on days or weeks or months where your product may be delayed, or there's things outside of your control and things like this that happen. And I am over so many different parts of the business that we're still in the very beginning stages of building it. So you wear multiple hats. Like you're the R&D, you're developing the product, but at the same time you're also customer support manager, the warehouse manager, you're the lead of content, you're the face of the brand. There's so many hats you wear, and one of them is customer support, and I lead that. And I am seeing comments on ads or on our social media, on our, the list goes on of how much really comes back at us, right? And I remember when we were late on shipping or had shipping or manufacturing delays that were outside of our control. And I remember a part of me just wanted to run away from it. Oh, I just wanted to just go run away, just pretend it wasn't there and hide from all of these customers. And I was just terrified to face that. It was a fear of I'm not good enough, a fear of what are they going to say to me, a fear that I'm not perfect, all those fears, a fear of just it's just it really hits me to my core. And I remember I thought to myself, either you can be a buffalo or you can be the other animals. And I remember when I started running away from it, because I was like pushing it on all my other employees. I was like, just you deal with it, you deal with it.
Mm.
And I realized when I did that, the problem got worse. Our ratings got worse. Our Better Business Bureau got worse. Trustpilot got worse. And I just saw all of our ratings just going down. And it was like oh, like my gut hurts thinking about it, right? And then I thought, what happens if I go towards it? What happens if I really live like a buffalo and hit towards this issue? And I cannot tell you, oh, it's like this opening feeling. You can tell even in my physique, right? That like it opened up for me, that all of a sudden I realized it wasn't as scary as I thought. And when I realized that, I went towards the problem and I started just letting him know, hey, look, this is what's going on. I'm a small women-owned business. We're facing this XYZ. And I just communicated with them. What happened is that's what they really wanted. They wanted to know that we're a human, that we're also going through stuff just like they are. And then we connected, we bonded, and my ratings skyrocketed. All of a sudden, I'm like, I saw it go from 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like, what is going on? And so I realized that it's my most favorite part of the business now. That it really is, when I actually see a bad comment on any of my ads, because like I said, we are worldwide. We have thousands and thousands and views, and it's madness. This thing is just cranking how it's supposed to, and it's awesome. But when I see bad comments, because people can easily hide behind their computer and say whatever they want to say, I go towards them. In fact, I actually call them. I will physically call them. If I have their phone number, I'll literally call them, or I'll call them on Facebook, or I'll call them on Instagram and be like, hi, I saw your comment that you put on my ad and I just wanted to talk on it. And they're like, what? They're like, what? I didn't know I'd actually be speaking to the owner. And I'm like, yeah, let's talk about it. And what I have found more than anything, it's opened up another avenue, is that these people are hurting. That the people that I ended up speaking to, because they were lashing out at me or they were saying mean things on my ad, what I found is that they were suicidal, or that somebody recently died, or they usually had some sort of loss in their life. And so what I found is that instead of personalizing other people's stuff at you, instead I learned to separate and not personalize, and realize that other people are going through stuff. And it shifted all of my fears. Now, as I go towards fear literally used to be so big. And now it's just, as I've gone towards it, has just shrunk to the point, I can be honest with you, I don't have any fears. I run towards every single one of them. And I'm passionate about that.
And you touched on something that I think is so important, because that is basically, as you said, you show them who you are. You're not going into that, I am the owner, so I'm, untouchable, or I'm invincible. I'm not sitting on that cloud. I'm going to come down and speak to them on their, we are equal. We're in the same level, basically. And actually, I think that when you allow yourself to be who you are, without the attachments that we sometimes have to what people might think about me, like maybe they think that I'm already in this level or that level, and I should maintain this image of myself. When I don't allow that to dictate anything, I can really talk to people in eye level and be vulnerable and be true and be honest and and work on this connection.
That's hard to do. And there's a process I use to get there. And I'll share with you how I'm able to get somebody there, because as a coach, it's hard. It's easy to say, but it's hard to do. It's hard to, like, it's easy to say, just go be vulnerable, but it's kind of like, where do I go? Where's my steps? Give me some sort of like stepping stone to get to. Like, how do I just be vulnerable? Do I just start crying? Like, what's vulnerable, right? So my process is this: when somebody is stuck in their life and they don't know who they are, and they're just kind of fighting to figure out whatever, if it's negative self-talk, whatever it may be, the first thing I do is I take them to who they really are. And how I do that is I say, the first step is, what are you most proud of in your life? Take me back to that time. Did you run a marathon? Did you graduate college? Did you raise children that you're extremely proud of? Whatever it is. And everybody's proud moment is very vastly different. And then in that moment, I ask them, the second step is, what did you make it mean about yourself? Okay, I am resilient. I'm a hard worker. I can accomplish more than I think. I can withstand the storms. I'm brave. All of these things, right? And I go, okay, so if this is what you've already done in your life, meaning you have the skill sets that made you resilient and a hard worker and you're brave and all these things, how is that any different just because you added a few years on your life? You still have skill sets. Skill sets don't just wash away in the wind. Skill sets are skill sets. You are this person. You accomplished this already in your life. You proved it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So how is that any different than bringing it now to this existing moment and use those same words for what you're going through right now?
Mm-hmm.
And that's that third step, is bring your empowerment of what you're proud of in the past and bring it to this existing moment and conquer whatever you're going through with that resilience, that hardworking, that everything that you are, bring it now. And you'll notice everything you're going through, you're going to conquer. And it's going to be another thing you put on your board of why you're proud of yourself.
I love that. And it's very true. I mean, people, a lot of the time, they forget, right? They forget to celebrate themselves. They forget that the things that actually make them who they are, they forget the things that matter. And so I really like how you say that you're actually reminding them of their strength and the qualities, things that they already have.
And that's a beautiful thing that you capped on right there, because I'm reading this book and it talks about that life is not learning lessons. It's not school. Life is not school. It's not meant to teach us. It's actually meant to remind us. We came here as magnificent, as amazing, as whole as we already are. And what we do is we go through life, we go experience, because if we don't have a bad day, we don't know what a good day is. So we are literally, as humans, going through this experience with none other purpose to remember, just remember, not learn. We don't need to learn anything. It's remember of how amazing and magnificent we all are.
I think it's it's actually a topic that is very interesting for me, because you have to go through that journey. You have to go through that journey to actually be able to remember that you are magnificent, that you are already everything that you need, and everything, that you have all of the answers within you. Because so often, in life, especially when people are going through really challenging lives and trauma and pain and all of that, it's very easy to be in the victimhood and to feel this injustice, and that everything is happening to us, and how, sometimes that question of, will I ever make it? Will I ever come out of this place where I'm at the moment? And so to have someone or something that helps them to remember that actually where they are at the moment is not permanent. It's just a phase. It's just something that they're going through. But actually, it doesn't mean that they don't already have all of these beautiful things that you're mentioning, all of the strength, the skills, they already are someone, and they're just going through something. And so kind of helping people to recognize that this whatever they're going through, it doesn't have to define them, and they can go out of this, as the topic says, out of victimhood, and by doing that, you're closer to your purpose. But I think it's just such a wider conversation. Definitely, maybe one that you need to have with someone else that can see you, look at you and help you to remember that you are already incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, and that actually was a conversation I even had this morning with significant other. Was I used to, okay, so this morning I noticed this guy, and he was really frail and like looked really sunken in, and he had this hoodie, and he was really gaunt, like white in his face, right? And he was just covered with just clothing that was nothing but gray and black. And his demeanor was very hunched over. And I remember back in the day, I would used to judge something like that. I'd be like something, right? A human. But I'd used to judge someone like that and go, wow, what have they done in their life? And what brought them to this point? But today I woke up and I looked at him and I went, he's experiencing his experience. He has to go to his level of whatever degree that is to experience the opposite of that, because life is duality. If we don't have, again, our bad days, we don't know our good days. They are meant, duality is meant for a purpose and for a reason. So if we expect that life has to be perfect, it never will be, because life is duality. And so when you see something that is opposite, it's because they are going through their experience to find what really their magnificent beauty, amazingness, strong capabilities are, their gift. And so when you see somebody going to that level, their addictions and their depth of hell and their victimhood and whatever that is, let them experience their victimhood. Don't take that away from them, because that's where the codependent and dependency comes into play, where you actually will make people weaker by taking away this experience. They have to become strong. They have to experience in themselves in order to break through of that and realize, wow, that was so tough to get through, but it was so tough, which made them so strong. And that's where strength really comes from. The reason why I'm here today and in this position and have my business and the success that I have with my business is not because I never had those rough days. It's because I experienced the depths of struggle and complication and fighting and fears and all of that. That is how now I'm able to reach the success, because now I have duality. So when you see somebody that's here, I used to be that too. I used to be that hoodie, that gray black dude just hunched over, not a dude, but but I had that demeanor. I was used to be depressed. I used to be stuck. And if somebody took that away from me, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be this strong. And so this world lives a lot of trying to take that away from them. No, let them go through it. We are here to experience.
Yeah.
And don't judge anyone for that, their own experience.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful what you're saying. A lot of the time, as you say, right, we want to help. We don't want people to suffer. We want to say, I know the way. Follow this way. And actually, if they're not ready to follow the way, your way is not going to be their way, and it's just going to be, well, a disaster. Really, it just reminded me of a lot. Sometimes when I talk to some of my clients and they talk to me about being, conflict avoiders, and how that would translate into their lives. For example, is maybe they see that someone is not in the place that they should be, or if they're a manager, for example, and they see their team doing something, and they see that they're in a struggle, and they say, well, I'm not going to say anything, so that so they don't get angry with me, or that I don't get the fury or anything like that. And what I say to them, actually, when you find your courage to go in and do or say something that you meant to say, I'm not talking about saving them or anything like that. If you go to them and you say, look, say for example, the quality of your work is not up to scratch at the moment, what's going on? Even if you have that kind of conversation, you're actually inviting them to get back on the path, which will basically bring up all of the inquiries and the processing that they need to do. If you stay in the one side and you don't say anything, they will basically, the journey will not be invoked. You have to do what you have to do. Maybe I kind of digressed us a little bit. It just reminded me of that, because I truly believe in that. People go through things, and it's not up to us to fix them. They have to find their own strength to come out of wherever it is that they are.
Yeah, and that goes even as a metaphor to a butterfly, right? We all know the stages of a butterfly. It goes through its chrysalis stage, its cocoon, right? And so when it's in its cocoon, it's actually developing the strength with its wings to then break through of that. But if you actually cut the cocoon before it's fully developed, that caterpillar butterfly never develops. It either dies or it will never form into a butterfly.
Yeah.
And like, really, that is the exact same metaphor as far as humans. We have to go through our experience. And I think what struggles the most is parents with that, because when you see your child suffering and you're like, no, I know the right way. Don't do this way. Or for me, like I see my clients, right? I see my clients struggling and I'm like, oh, let me show you the right way. But even as coaches and mentors, we have to realize they have to go through that. They have to go through that experience. And when they're ready to change is when they find you. And that's when you easily have a client that shifts immediately. But we can't judge the client that's not, we can't personalize, oh, they're not changing because of me. No, no, no,
No.
no. They need to go through their process. They are still going through their strength process, and you are that stage for them. Just whatever way that you are that stepping stone, be okay with that. Letting go of this, like this, like you have to save people. You just mentioned it. Letting go of that have to save people. Realize
Yeah.
you are saving people through whatever stage they're going through, and with no judgment. No judgment.
Okay. And yeah, it's exactly that. And you mentioned the kids, and I've got my daughters, and I noticed that as well. That it's that thing of sometimes seeing that they are headed towards something, and you think, ah, don't, just don't do that, don't go there. But actually knowing that it's not your journey, they have their journey, and they have to go through these things, and it's so hard. It's so hard to just not to try and direct them in a direction that feels right to me. But again, it's not my journey; it's their journey.
It's not, because my journey is becoming an entrepreneur and running this business and sharing my thing, right? So my journey, not everyone's going to go be an entrepreneur. Not everyone should, because then we don't have the world that reciprocates itself, right? Not
Mm.
everyone should go be one thing. And so that is why there is so many experiences. So you're right on that. Yes, we all have our own individual experience, and don't judge somebody in their process of it. Like my grandma once said, life is like a mountain. We're all trying to get to the top of the mountain, right? So whether we go straight up the mountain or we spiral around the mountain or we go up and down like this and then finally lead to the mountain, at the end, we're all going to end up in the same place. We're going to go to the top of the mountain. Your journey of getting there, why should you judge somebody else's path when it's really the end journey is the end journey? Why? Who cares what you end up doing, right? And that's the same thing. It's we're all going through our own path. It's our own experience. Life is not a lesson, it is an experience. Why? Oh, it's so beautiful. Like, you really sit and think about it. Like, it's to really understand who we really are. Like, for me, I needed to go through my experience to know that I am a leader and that I'm powerful and that I'm whole and that I'm a creator. And so I had to bring myself to the depths of hell of
Mm.
knowing, of going, I'm not this, and I'm terrible, and I'm a waste of space, and I'm depressed, and this, that, and the other. I had to experience the opposite, the duality of it, to then know, now I know, oh, I'm this, when in reality, we were already born with it. So it's remembering who we really are. So we're
Yeah.
going through our experience. We're taking ourself, it's not God. Nobody's taking ourselves down to this pit of hell. It is,
Mm.
we are doing this. We are creating our own journey for us, other than to give ourselves the reason of, I am this. It gets deep, I know, but it's,
Deep is good. Yeah. But I agree with that. It's like the layers of an onion, right? We have to keep peeling to get to who we are, but we have to peel. And sometimes we're not ready, right? And so maybe we'll come back in another life, and then we continue where we started. But it's really is all about our own timing.
mhm. Yeah, I think that trust is a big word. I think, um, using affirmations on a daily basis, I'll just share with you some of mine. I'm open to opportunities that are coming my way.
Mm.
If you actually repeat that out loud, it actually is very opening. So as you find opening and freeing affirmations, the other one I have is, something amazing's about to happen.
I like that.
You see? See? The other one is every day I'm looking at my wall because actually on my wall. The other one is every day I'm getting better and better and better. And so it's just when you find those affirmations that really open and expand you, then you know
Mm.
you're on the right path. If you're finding things that are closing you down and suppressing you, then you're just not, that's just go towards the open. Trust me, just go towards the opening, the freeing. That's the direction.
Yeah. Yeah. So you said trust. I think for me, it's funny because the word that keeps coming up for me these days is alignment. And it's really about, am I aligned with what I'm doing? Is this one thing that I'm doing, is it aligned with my purpose, with my value and all of that? And so, it's really important or nice or vital, I don't know, to keep asking these questions. Where am I? What am I? What is going on? Am I following my actual path, or am I actually following something out of fears, like we mentioned before?
And those work. Those questions really work. There's a really great book out that's called, oh geez, let's see if I can remember it. Oh geez, now I can't remember it. Okay, it'll come to me. But there's a really great book that talks about asking those questions. What is a great way to ask a question? Because it's a very opening and it's a really great way to try to bring things to you. What are those things? That things are intuition. Again, we already know. We're just needing to remember and remind ourselves. So questions are a great way, but ultimately we, our higher self, we have all these answers.
Yeah.
So that's why questions are so profound. And sometimes we got to be careful with the questions, because if they're closed questions, like
Do I like it?
you can change a question to be very pivoting and shrinking, right? Or you can change a question to be very pivoting and opening. So it's really about how are you phrasing your questions? Like if you're like, why is God always against me? That's a very closing, statement. It's not opening at all. But if you were like, what is the purpose for my struggle? Right? So
Yeah.
it's really, how can you, again, is your life, are you finding ways to expand yourself, or are you finding ways that you're closing yourself?
Yeah. And this is exactly what we said earlier, right? That's the victimhood. Because yeah, if you think, why is God always against me, then you are a victim.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally agree. It's really about the questions that you're asking and paying attention to the conversation that you're having with yourselves. At some point, I guess you might wake up to realizing that you're asking, or that you're talking with yourself in the wrong way, in a way that is really disempowering you.
Mm-hmm. And to each his own. You're going to find you will eventually see what you're doing at some point. And I'm not going to judge that. If you have a gray hoodie on right now and you're walking life and you choose to be a victim, I'm not going to judge you for that. You're
Mm.
going to go through your experience, because you're going to have to know what the opposite of victimhood is.
Yeah.
Because life is duality. You're not going to know what that experience is, but I've been there. I've been a victim. Oh yeah, I can confess for sure that I was like, poor me, the world's against me. Why does everything I touch just turn to dust when everyone else touches it and it's gold? Like, oh yeah, I've played that. Does it get you anywhere? I'll tell you right now, I've already lived this experience, and so is einav. I always have to look down and make sure I'm saying your name right. So is einav. So we're here just as experts saying we've already lived this experience. Coaches need coaches. For example, Michael Jordan had a coach. So even as expert as you are, having a coach already have an experience in front of you
Yeah.
allows you to not go through so much pain. And so that's really why we're here, is we're saying we've been victims of ourselves,
Yeah.
and it didn't get us anywhere. And now that we've broken free of that victimhood, wow, how it feels. And now we're coaches. So now we support others that come to us that are struggling, and we go, there is a better way. Whenever you're ready, but
Exactly.
live your experience, be a victim as long as you need to, but when you're ready to change, we're here, and we'll be that guiding light for you.
Exactly. You need to, because we've been there, we can guide others. Otherwise, we will just get sucked into the story. But
Yeah. Here's a great one for as far as that goes, what you just said. I remember I heard it. I can't remember where I heard this one, but I remember it was you can't be a good coach, like a stretch coach. Let's say like somebody that's like a flexibility coach, unless you were unflexible yourself. Because if you just go in and you just start teaching people and you're just like bam splits, like oh yeah flexibility, and it's like comes supernatural to you, people are like whoa whoa whoa.
yeah,
What's like that next, how do I get there, what are those steps? And so what's great is when you've had somebody that's not flexible allows you to get there, it allows you to take that. So the best coaches are the ones that have hit rock bottom first. So, and it's important for us coaches to know this too, that any bad day, any tough moment is only making us a better coach, because we won't be able to relate to our audience if we
yeah,
don't have those days. And so sometimes we have to have them. And every time I have a bad day, I'm like, okay, all right, wow. Oh, I could use this. Oh, I could use this to help with people that are feeling this way. And then all of a sudden the light bulb goes on. I'm like, this was for a purpose. And it brings me out of victimhood and that tough time immediately, knowing that I've got to overcome it so I can teach other people how to overcome it.
yeah. That wise old statement, right? Or question: why is it happening for me? Find the reason, find the purpose, find the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're coming to towards the end of our conversation. Danita, do you have any message, anything that you'd like our listeners to take away with them today?
Whatever they've taken away so far is the message I want to leave them. Whatever little piece of that they took, just keep that.
I like that. Great. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.